A lot of the people that you read about are people that I hang out with. You're selling Indian spirituality is a big business. Don't listen to Narendra Modi, he's full of shit. The entire clinical trial system in the United States is geared towards the needs of the pharma company, not the needs of the patient. I have many flaws. There are many things you shouldn't learn from me. Like I said, when I met Narendra Modi, I was amazed that I could have intellectual conversations with him. I have nothing better to do, so I might as well try to save the world. Again, getting back to Daaji, I've never met anyone like him.
Woof woof. Welcome to Kanha. Today I am speaking to Vivek Wadhwa, who is on a mission to help the world. He is a best-selling author, technology entrepreneur and academic who has been a fellow at Harvard and a professor at Carnegie Mellon University, among others. He is also a syndicated columnist who was recognized by Time magazine as one of the top 40 minds in tech. Thank you so much for taking the time out to come and
No, it's great to be
spend
here.
time with us.
Right.
As I understand, you've been doing some Ayurvedic treatments as well at the Kanha Wellness Center, and you've been taking a tour of the campus.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, I'd like to ask you, what are your first impressions of this place?
I'm blown away. I mean, first of all, I can't believe this is only 6 years old. The fact that you were able to create a beautiful forest, I mean, a diverse forest in the middle of, parched land, literally. And then there's so much life and vibrancy to it. That's one surprise. The other surprise is the dedication of people. People are not here working because they're working. They're here because they have faith, they believe, they feel inspired, they feel motivated. And that shows in everything. In every aspect of interacting with people here, you get this feeling that they care. They're doing it because they believe. They have a mission. That is a big difference. I've never been in a community as large as this where you have that type of value. And it's not a bunch of nutcases who are, cultists, because you also have all these bizarre cults all over the world.
Absolutely.
No, there's just regular professionals who, share common values, who are, trying to do good for the world, which is amazing.
So there's not too many people who are drinking the Kool-Aid. And
There's no Kool-Aid here. This is what surprised me.
Yeah.
I mean, even, Daaji, because I've met several spiritual leaders. I won't mention them because I'm going to piss a lot of people off by mentioning names. But I met...
we'll go viral, brother. Please mention.
Right. No, because you go to some of these programs, it's all about the self-proclaimed guru. Everything is about them. It's all marketing about them and so on. Daaji is the exact opposite. He's as modest, as humble as could be. And nothing is about him. It's all about what can he do for the people he's serving, which is, what's really inspired me and touched me. Yesterday when I was with him in the evening, I said, this is my new friend. We were talking with James Doty on a podcast, and it was literally like meeting a friend. That is a new experience for me.
Absolutely. I mean, there is no that formality and the pomp and the circumstance around.
It's also not about ego, not about self. It's about, and what happens is that the values always flow downwards. In any organization, it starts from the top. So when you have the leader who's now being humble, modest, who's not living a exuberant lifestyle, who doesn't have a bunch of Rolls Royces and Porsches there, who's not obsessed with making billions of dollars, as many people are.
Sure, it's a big business. It's a lucrative business.
Exactly. You're selling Indian spirituality is a big business.
Yeah. And there are many people who make a living out of that.
Yeah, exactly. Who become billionaires from it. There's none of that over here, which is what surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
So I came in a little bit skeptical, and I'm leaving, very positive. I told Pragya that, because she caused me to come here, and now she keeps insisting on me coming back. And what I realized is I do have to come back for the 7-day course. 3 days isn't enough. Even though it was amazing to get the Ayurvedic treatment and learn the meditation, 3 days just ain't enough.
Well, we hope to keep seeing you back here. It would be lovely to have you.
Yeah.
So in your interactions with Daaji, what were the topics you discussed?
No, we've talked about so many different things already.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I talked to him about some of the big projects I'm working on. Then I even talked about marketing and positioning. So a broad range of topics, science and technology to like spiritual values and giving back to the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've now spent many hours with him. It's been quite an experience being here.
So, Mr. Wadhwa, you are very busy as a columnist, as a fellow at Harvard, and professor at CMU. How you mentioned that you also visited other spiritual organizations. How did that start? How did that interest start? Because your time must be very precious. So it's only things that are extremely
Yeah, I've
important.
retired from teaching, by the way.
Hmm.
I lost my wife to cancer. Okay,
Hmm.
that's been about 4.5 years now. And before I lost her, for a year, all I did was try to save her. I mean, I got in touch with the who's who. And being in Silicon Valley, being with the connections I have, I had access literally to the top scientists in the world. And I had several labs. I had 2 or 3 labs actually ready to create personalized vaccines for her, except we didn't have the data to treat her, and we lost the battle. I realized that the U.S. medical system is completely screwed up. It's as corrupt as could be. It's all about making money, money, money. The entire clinical trial system in the United States is geared towards the needs of the pharma company, not the needs of the patient. So, Tavinda is my soulmate. She's everything to me. So after I lost her, I checked out of the world for many weeks, for many months. I don't even remember how long. I didn't leave the house for. But what kept me going were her words, because I asked her if I can share her genetic information. She said, Vivek, if my suffering can help others, it was worthwhile. Do
Wow.
all you can for humanity. She knew me well enough to know that without her, I'd be lost, I'd be devastated. So she actually commanded me to spend the rest of my life helping others. I mean, I always have been trying to do what I can for others, and she knew how that gives me, motivation and happiness. But it was almost like she didn't have to communicate everything in words. I knew exactly what she was saying to me. That her command was that I dedicate the rest of my life to helping humanity. And that's what kept me going. So I put together a grand plan to cure cancer with the amazing scientists who tried to help me save her. And then what do I do with it? United States, the medical system, corrupt as hell. I mean, if I had, tried doing anything grand over there, I would get sued. So then it occurred to me that India is where it's all going to happen. Because why? Because first of all, India doesn't have an industry to protect. It doesn't have a medical industry to protect, a research industry to protect, a pharma industry to protect. At best, all they do here in pharma is replicate Western medicines and do it inexpensively. Fine. So I brought it here. I got a meeting with the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and it was a very interesting meeting because his assistants told me, you can't do this, you can't do that, be very careful, talk slowly. Modi and I basically were talking like the same reaction I had with Daaji when I met him day before yesterday. That it was almost like we became friends. We were
Wow.
communicating one on one. Even though I was talking in English, he was talking in Hindi. We understood each other very well. And he basically told his people to do whatever it takes to help me. So
Wow.
again, long story, but eventually Venkat Ramachandran, who was Ratan Tata's head of Tata Trust, his lieutenant in chief practically, and Moni Kurikos, who was heading up the Cochin Cancer, one of the top oncologists in the world. They were looking to transform India's cancer care system, and we teamed up. I brought with me my advisory board, which is the who's who of the United States, the top scientists in the world, and we decided to work together to transform India's cancer care system to turn it into the most advanced in the world. And
Wow.
this is happening right now. Within 5 years, India is going to have the best cancer care system in the whole world by a mile. And
Wow.
so much so. So I've had 2 meetings with the Prime Minister so far, and amazing. He's as supportive as could be. I mean, for the son of a tea seller, I didn't know what to expect because I'd heard that he's just a son of a tea seller. He was talking to me more intelligently than the CEOs of Silicon Valley companies can
Wow.
about science and technology.
Wow.
So that was my reaction over there. Over here, same thing with Darji, that he was a spiritual guru. Again, I thought he was going to talk about karma and reincarnation and spiritualism. No, I mean, Daaji is able to talk about science and technology. And, I talked to him about the work I've been doing in cancer. He got it just like that. Then I talked about another project I've been involved with, which is to convert to create plasma activated water.
Mhm.
The technology has been tested here for the last few months, producing amazing results. So, we gave him an update on what's happening here. He jumped on it and he immediately understood. He was in the podcast yesterday. He was talking about the free radicals, ionization, linking it up with some of the techniques that you have over here for what's the polarity and so on. I mean, he got it just like that. So anyway, I took a complete detour from where I was. So I started working on curing cancer, and then the agriculture technologies, plasma technologies, and then I realized I can solve another problem that we have right now of medical diagnostics being so expensive that no one can afford them. So why is the American medical system geared towards the rich and keeping the establishment rich? It's because it's focused on sick care, not health care. It's not focused on prevention of disease. It's focused on making money by sending people to hospitals, by pumping them full of drugs and keeping them sick. It's not about holistic medicine. Why does the West fight holistic medicine? Well, because if you live healthy lifestyles, you're not going to get sick.
Sure.
If you don't get sick, you're not going to make the medical establishment money. So therefore, they pump you with chemicals. They sell you fast foods, which are filled with all sorts of carcinogens and sugars and processed food. The entire system is geared towards keeping us sick. So so the problem I wanted to solve was, how do we now detect disease early enough, in particular cancer? That's what my enemy is. I'm determined to prevent cancer and to cure cancer. How can you now diagnose cancer earliest? By cutting the cost of medical diagnostics to almost zero. So the same technology which is being tested at Kanha right now to transform agriculture and to launch the next green revolution. And I'm going to let Daaji talk more about the green revolution. I'm hoping that over the next 6 months or so, as he gets the results, and because he's doing again, getting back to Daaji, I've never met anyone like him. He's not only is he a scientist, he's also an agriculturalist himself. He showed me his agricultural endeavors. I mean, all these amazing things that he's doing. I mean, all the plants he has and hydroponics and so on. And he's now going to become the world's leading plasma activated water specialist, because he's now going to be testing these technologies himself. So I'm going to leave it to him to tell the listeners about the next green revolution, which is going to be launched from Kanha. This is going to be his baby. But a byproduct of the technology is now when the conversion into plasma happens. So essentially converting liquid matter into light, into ions, atoms. If you catch if you do a spectral analysis of that, if you essentially put a high definition camera on it and capture the light beam in 3 dimensions, you can now start analyzing it for signatures of diseases.
Wow.
So this is what I believe I can do. And I'm going to know in the next 6 months to a year, because working with Pragya Kalia's company, Plasma Waters, we're now developing miniaturized devices by which I can get the spectral analysis. And then, I talked about Karkinos, the cancer care project that Venkat Ramachandran and Moni Kirikos launched. Well, what if we can now, work with them to start training up our AI? There are other pathology labs in India also who have access to massive amounts of data. The magic right now is with AI. You can train AI to recognize AI. I'm again getting off topic. What is AI? AI is pattern recognition.
Sure.
There's no magic in it. You essentially train it to understand specific patterns. So if I can train AI to understand the light spectrum and to understand proteins in that light spectrum, we can now detect any disease.
Wow.
And the beauty of it is that the ionization process costs practically nothing. It's just electricity. And within minutes, you have it all digitized up on the cloud. And now with AI, within seconds, you can analyze it and it can tell you exactly what's in that. So that's what my company is doing. Vionix Biosciences is the company. Vionix, Vionix.bio. You can, people can read up about it. That's what I'm working on. I'm not sure if I'm going to succeed or not, right? But as Daaji said, Vivek, you're going to succeed because you have your heart in the right place and you're going to succeed. And he said that to me 3 times. So if Daaji says it, I'm going to, take him at his word, because so far I'm not sure if I'll be able to do what I want to do. But if I can, I'm going to transform the entire medical diagnostics industry by making the cost of diagnosing disease almost zero. Because it's not only liquid. I mean, so what we're doing here at Kanha is with plasma activated water. The initial plan was to do blood. But we realized why blood? Why not urine?
Hmm.
We have plentiful urine, and we discard so much of it, many times a day.
Sure. Yeah.
Versus blood is precious. Well, you can detect what's in the urine. Well, if you're while you're at it, why not breath?
Hmm.
Because we've known for a long time. In fact, dogs can detect certain types of cancer in the breath. Even some of the sages, they want in Ayurveda, for example, they're looking at your tongue. They're looking at specific signals in your mouth and so on. Well, what if you could now detect volatile organic compounds and disease directly from the breath? So this is what I'm working on. A very
Wow.
ambitious project. If I succeed, I'm going to help humanity, help billions of people. If I fail, then I've done all I can, and I still feel good about it
No,
because
but I'm sure the learnings would help, no doubt. Even
yeah.
with the failure, it would help.
Let's see what happens. I mean, so this is what I'm doing now. This is what I'm dedicating my life to now.
That sounds so exciting.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating. I wanted to understand this spectral analysis that is done, say for a patient, that will be done through a liquid sample, either urine or blood.
The low-hanging fruit is breath.
Breath.
That you essentially breathe into. You go to the doctor's office, you go to a clinic, you go to a supermarket, you go to a school. I mean, anywhere the device is, a device the size of a computer printer, or and you breathe. You essentially breathe into it like a breathalyzer test
Sure,
that
sure.
you do.
Sure.
And immediately it analyzes the information, stores, takes it, uploads it to the cloud, runs the AI tools, and gives you the results on your smartphone within 5 minutes or less. That's what the device I'm building.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That is absolutely incredible. So this is on the diagnosis side.
Right.
Is there also stuff that you've looked at on the treatment side that you look
I
at?
can only
hopefully?
do so much. I mean,
Sure, of course.
you see, I'm not even a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I started my career as a computer programmer, as a humble computer programmer with an MBA. Right, so I've had to reinvent myself many times. I ended up becoming an academic. I could never have gotten into Harvard. I could never have gotten to Duke or Carnegie Mellon. My grades weren't good enough. But by the time I was done, I was at Duke, Harvard, Emory, UC Berkeley, and Stanford, and Singularity University at the same 6 universities at the same time. It was just a challenge for me, but I did
Incredible.
it. So-
Incredible. Incredible. But what I wanted to know was that since you've thought about and been involved with cancers for so long, and it's been kind of you've been
5 years. That's all I focused on is cancer.
absolutely, absolutely. So do you see any silver linings on the treatment side also?
Yes, because this is why I'm focused on diagnostics, because if you can catch cancer at stage 1, you can cure it, you can treat it. You can treat it with lifestyle changes, right? See, I mean, Indians in particular, they turn a blind eye to the stupid things that they're eating. We eat
Sure.
this chemical-laden food knowing, even if there's a sign on there saying, hey, this can cause cancer, okay? They're careless about it. Well, if they did a test and they're told they have stage 1 lung cancer, they're going to stop smoking, right? They're going to stop their BDs and their cigarettes and stuff like that immediately, because they'll know that if they continue the way they're going, a year or two from now, they're going to die from this. There's no higher motivator. So that's again easy one. Now other types of cancer, if you can now detect liver cancer, all these other cancers, in most cases you can now treat it through things like fasting. I mean, it's documented clearly. There are hundreds of papers on this, that fasting can improve your health. Right. So if you could now know, and people, why don't Indians fast? If you go back to Indian tradition, it was all about fasting. It was
Sure.
eating healthy foods.
Sure.
It was all about like good lifestyle and habits. We succumbed to the West, and we became like them. Right. Well, if you know you're going to die, you're suddenly going to wake up and go and speak to mommy and daddy, or go and read up on the natural treatments, or go to look into Ayurveda, or other natural treatments, and suddenly you're going to wake up and realize that, hey, I have access to all of this knowledge in my own country, and I can now save myself by going back to basics. So what I'm trying to do is give people the wake-up call and let them know that they're going to die pretty soon if they don't change their lifestyle and habits. What the lifestyle and habits are, this is where Daaji comes in. This is where other people. There are lots of people who already know how you can improve your lifestyle and habits and what you can do. Meditation. Start doing yoga and meditation, and you'll immediately heal yourself. I mean, I've been here for 2 days right now already. After getting the Ayurvedic cleansing and going through that, I'm feeling so much better already. Just 2 days into it. So what if you now could do this over a period of weeks or months? You could, likely treat almost every disease, including cancer, because there are healthy ways of curing cancers. The problem happens when you're at stage 4. The cancer has spread all over your body, and it's too late. This is why in India most cancers are discovered at stage 4. Because people don't get regular medical tests, and even when they do, they can't afford the gene sequencing that's needed to detect many cancers, to figure out exactly what you have. So this is why cancer is so fatal in India more than in the West. Well,
Sure.
what if we could detect it earlier stage? And now you go back to your roots. It's a good reason now to listen to Daaji and to do yoga and meditation.
Sure, sure. Another thing that is, since you are talking about the various options that are there, Ayurveda, diet, control, lifestyle change, that sort of thing. But there's another challenge in today's day and age. That is, if you are suggesting something, getting that information out is not easy, and there are lots of regulations also, because there are people who take advantage of patients as well. There's the quacks. Everybody talks about that as well. So how do you sift the?
Yeah, this is the problem. I mean, I wrote an entire book about it. Your Happiness is Hacked, about how the tech industry is taking advantage of us and how they're making us addicted to technology. It's the same thing with food. The food industry has been making us addicted to the poisons that they have. I mean, we drink Coca-Cola knowing that it's pure 100% chemicals filled with poison. There's nothing good in soft drinks. I mean, people here, they drink fruit juices which are laden with sugars. I mean, all prepackaged garbage. In India, where, we've had the healthiest foods possible, yoga, meditation, all of these natural foods, they all, this is what India, specialized in. The cooking, using turmeric, using healthy spices. This is all India. And what do? We succumbed to the Western foods, the Western processes, and so on. Sheer stupidity. So there's a problem over here, and but the good thing is that the knowledge to deal with this is also available online right now. That you have to know where to look. But once you start looking there, you can get all the information you want. Before, if you were in a village, you were cut off from reality. So you would have the quacks over there. You'd have your panchayats over there. You'd have the people brainwashing you over there. You'd have the superstitions over there. But practically everyone in the village right now has a smartphone.
Sure.
On the same smartphone, they have access to the same knowledge that we have in Silicon Valley, that you have over here. If they want to now listen to Daaji's lectures, they can simply go on their phone and watch him real time. They can, the people are watching this podcast, they can get access to this knowledge for free.
Sure.
That's the beauty of it. That yes, we're being overrun with noise and pollution and misinformation, but if you seek, you shall find. The answers are there. The knowledge is there. The yoga, meditation are there. And what's more, they're available online. So you can be anywhere, not only in India, but anywhere in the world, and get access to the same knowledge, and you can uplift yourself. You just have to have the motivation to do it.
Yeah. And what about pushback from Big Pharma? I mean, there's
pushback on everything. I mean, big food. I mean, if you start talking about the fact that these chips that you eat, they're killing you, processed food is killing you, buying all this junk that you buy from your supermarket is killing you, the food industry is going to they're going to bribe some professors to publish garbage papers which show, eating drinking Coca-Cola isn't that bad for you. You can drink all the Diet Coke you want and it'll be fine. That's stupid. I mean, anyone with a brain should know that Diet Coke is bad, is as bad as
regular
anything
Coke.
else is.
Yeah.
But they get brainwashed by the food industry or the pharma industry. Yes, you have all of that. The gambling industry. I mean, yes, you have these corrupt industries, the medical industry, which is trying to get you addicted to their drugs and get you on lifetime regimes of medications. Antibiotics, the way they're prescribed in India, as if it's, churn. I mean...
Yeah. In fact, they don't even have to be prescribed. All of us have them at home, and we
Yeah.
prescribe them to ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like eating churn in India. That you just pop a pill and you think antibiotics are fine for you. Antibiotics destroy everything. They destroy your entire microbiome. They destroy everything living that could help you heal yourself. But you do it in India.
Yeah. There's this very cavalier attitude to, देखा जाएगा, कुछ नहीं होगा.
I know. Well, देखा जाएगा, then you're going to get cancer and you're going to die and you're going to suffer.
Yeah.
That's really what the net result is.
Do you think the overriding philosophy that a lot of us Indians have कि जो किस्मत में है वो तो होगा, that
No,
contributes to it?
because I think the message is that you make your own kismet. That you have a lot of potential. All of us have great potential, but we can rise above it. These are some of the lessons that you folks are teaching over here.
Absolutely.
Is
Daaji
that-
wrote a book called Designing Destiny. on
Yeah,
how to-
exactly.
Destiny is one thing, but you could design
I
it.
have a copy of that book. I'm going to read it over the next few days. But you're right. You can you can make your own destiny. Your karma is really your potential. It doesn't mean that you're destined. You came to this planet to eat Lay's potato chips, and to drink Coca-Cola and Pepsi, and to poison yourself with these chemicals. You don't have to eat processed food. You can go and buy fresh vegetables and eat fresh vegetables. Yes, you make most of the vegetables that you buy are chemical laden, but you can probably get good organic food or grow it in your own backyard, as you're doing here at Kanha. It's just amazing that you have all of this organic produce being produced everywhere you look. There's organic food being produced over here. Well, we could be doing that in all across India.
I had a friend from Ukraine some years back who was here, and he said, "You guys in India don't realize how lucky you are." I said, "Why?" He said, "You can have a fresh guava, a fresh apple from Himachal. We guys just crave for fresh fruit. It's not a thing in climates that are cold and things like that. In a tropical climate, we have that huge advantage, but yet." The modern trend seemed to be that we'd prefer oranges coming from California.
I know, it's stupid. And the guavas here, the amruds here. It's when I used to visit India, I would buy the amruds because they have such flavor here. You buy this Australian version of it, New Zealand version of it, it's complete garbage. It tastes like you're eating fluff.
The Allahabad ka amrud, nothing beats the Allahabadi amrud.
So Indians don't realize their own heritage. The fact is you have that. And the fact that if you can turn, this campus, 1,000, 2,000 acres of it from barren land into a fertile organic forest, imagine what you can do over the rest of India. This is why I'm such a big fan of Daaji's now, because he's basically trying to reforest India and to take these healthy foods all across the country.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Wadhwa, you've been at the cutting edge of technology before you shifted focus on cancer research. You were on the cutting edge of technology. You were with big technology firms. You were meeting with the highest, the brightest minds.
I'm still at the cutting edge of technology.
Absolutely. The bleeding edge.
Right.
So
I still teach corporate executives about everything from artificial intelligence to quantum computing. I teach about convergences, disruptions. In fact, there are two books commonly available, which are available in India. Indian versions, they're only a couple of ₹100. Driver and the Driverless Car, and From Incremental to Exponential. Driving the driverless car should be read by everyone who's listening to this. From incremental to exponential is for business executives, for startups, for people who are looking how can they build billion-dollar companies or trillion-dollar industries. That's more of a business book. Driving the driverless car is something everyone should read to understand all of these advancing technologies.
So there's a big debate, of course, that where we feel technology may be getting too involved in our lives, and there's the other side of the fence where it's making our lives so much more convenient and comfortable. And
that's what Your Happiness. That's another book which is available in India. Your Happiness Was Hacked. There's an Indian version of that as well. So that book covers exactly what you talked about. The fact that technology is making us addicted. Yet technology is good. So it basically tells you how you can use technology to improve your lives rather than become, a victim of technology.
So, and you've also been, of course, a columnist syndicated all over the world. What do you think are the future trends in technology? Where do you think the evolution is going in the tech world?
It's not one thing, it's multiple. In the next 10 years or so, we're going to have flying cars. We're going to have drones delivering our food. We're going to have, with synthetic biology, we're going to be able to grow mangoes in the Jaipur desert. We're going to be able to cure cancer. I'm talking about myself now. I had the ambition of curing cancer. Not only cancer, we're going to be able to cure every disease. We'll be able to now have medical diagnostics, which are inexpensive. Again, this is something I'm working on. We will be able to 3D print meat. I mean, here at Kanha, you're not serving meat. Well, I'm going to challenge Daaji. What if you could synthetically produce it? You could have a printer. You're synthetically producing protein. You haven't killed a cow. You haven't killed a chicken, except you have the same protein as that. Next 5 years or so, 3D printed meat will be about the same cost as animals that you slaughter without slaughtering animals.
I mean,
Will you
plant-based meat is a big thing already. I mean, it's available in
forget
all
about
the...
plant because that still requires plants.
Sure,
It's still
sure.
expensive. What if you could synthetically produce, protein, which looks and tastes just like beef does
Uh-huh.
that come from cattle? In the next 5 years or so, that's going to become possible. In
So,
the
so,
next 10 years, the cost of energy is going to drop to the point of cell phones. I mean, if we go back 10 or 20 years, it used to. I mean, people used to have landlines, and it would be try calling America. You'd have to book a
sure,
call. It would cost you
a bomb.
yeah, hundreds of rupees. Now every person here has a smartphone, and they're able to call anyone anywhere and do video calls and so on. So the cost of energy is going to drop to that point. The cost of battery storage is going to drop exponentially, which means we're going to have self-driving electric cars even on Indian roads. Because eventually, I mean, this will take longer than anything else. We'll have self-driving cars on Indian roads as well. Um, all of these things over the next decade or so. And this is just the beginning. There, I can go on and on and on about all the things that
Absolutely.
are going to become possible. So we have the chance to uplift humanity itself in the next 10 or 20 years.
So true. I mean, it sounds weird right now that all this will happen, but we are the generation that also saw telegrams, people sending telegrams to each other,
Right.
where each character you had to pay for. So
We had
life is...
fax machines,
We had
cassette
fax
players,
machines. Yeah. Yes.
VCRs. Remember those?
I know we have some relics right here.
VCR. Oh my God,
Yes.
I haven't seen one for many years. Remember those telephone booths we used to have?
We also had the laser disc in between. You remember the laser disc? Those big
Oh yeah, yeah,
LP-like
yeah.
things that used to play movies?
They're
It
all
was...
gone. It's all digitized. It's all here in your hands. And this is more powerful than the Cray supercomputers of the 70s and the 80s. The Cray supercomputers, which could not be exported to India from the United States. This is 100 times more powerful than the most powerful Cray supercomputers of the 70s. And
Absolutely.
no one,
Absolutely.
they don't stop you at customs when you try to get into the country.
Yeah. There was a time when 256 MB SD cards you used to get, and you thought you had a lot of storage
Yeah,
space.
you
Now
got
it's...
20 gigabyte now.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, and it's just going to get exponentially more. But there are a lot of naysayers to this also. There are a lot of people who say that technology will kind of rule our lives. It will take the individual decisions out of, it will make the decisions for you pretty much.
Yeah, technology is good and evil at the same time. That's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
driving the driverless car, the book, it goes from everything from AI to the advances in medicine to synthetic biology to quantum computing. And it talks about the good and the bad of every technology. And the book postulates that we have a choice now between creating the amazing future of Star Trek or the darkness of Mad Max, where society is ripping, itself
Dystopian
apart.
world, yeah.
They're both happening at the same time.
Hmm.
Where are we going to be? That is up to us, because it's good and evil at the same time.
And what do you think about human consciousness? While technology is advancing at a great, great level, we still see there is, at a human level, we have so many problems in the world right now. I mean, there's turmoil in different parts of the world right now as we speak. Do you think that mentally and at a consciousness level, humanity is evolving the way it should?
No, in fact, we haven't had software update to the human brain for tens of thousands of years. We're stuck in the past, whereas technology is advancing exponentially. But the good news is that we do have the ability to upload our consciousness, to upgrade our consciousness. That is now in our own hands. So again, if you go back to yoga and meditation, and if you go back to the basic principles that Indian society is based on, we can uplift ourselves and come together as humanity and do amazing things. So we can, but this is why, going back to Indian cultural roots is so important. This is why I'm saying, forget about all the crap from the West. Forget about the Western lifestyle and the habits. Go back to your roots. Understand exactly where you came from, and understand the power of of these things that our ancestors taught us. Again, getting back to yoga and meditation. That is what's going to save humanity.
Yes. You've also mixed with people who are, amongst the wealthiest in the world, also the most innovative people in the world. I mean, you've been friends with Elon Musk. And do you feel that wealth, just being wealthy, is enough, or you need to have your heart in the right place too.
No, no. Look at what happened to Elon Musk. I mean, he went to the dark side. I mean, he's become a nutcase. I mean, because the money and power has gone to his head. Mark Zuckerberg. Long ago, I used to admire him, and I would have called him a friend. I mean, but I started. I mean, in Happiness Was Hacked, I talked about the fact that Zuckerberg is now using technology, sees social media to profit from it and to destroy us. What happens to these people? So I live in Silicon Valley. A lot of the people that you read about are people that I hang out with. Um, some of them are still my friends, right? So, some of them are because we haven't gone too much to the dark side. The trouble is that they begin to believe their own press. They begin to believe that they are gods because they've succeeded in something. They became so rich, so therefore they must be doing something right. This is a big problem because end up getting away from their own consciousness, from their own souls. They become addicted to the money that they have. This is why very often they end up committing suicide or just imploding, self-destructing. This happens over and over again to these billionaires. They're the most, I know several billionaires. Apparently, I know many, many billionaires, okay? And they're the most despicable people in the world. Why? Because they believe that they're this God complex and they're lonely, miserable people. I mean, you think that when you have so much money, it brings you happiness? No, 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 not at all. In fact, quite to the contrary. That after a while, money destroys you because you become obsessed with making more and more and more. And it all becomes, a matter. So a matter of competing with one and another. I mean, you have to outdo each other. You're not content with all you have. You have to have a bigger house because this other billionaire has a bigger house. These are despicable people. I feel sad for them. I feel sorry for them. Because you need enough money to live comfortable lives, okay? Because not having money, being poor and being comfortable, there's a big delta between that. Because if you're extremely poor, you can't feed yourself, you can't feed your family, your children are suffering, you can't educate them. That's it's a big problem.
Sure.
But after you have enough to look after your family, you don't need more money than that. You essentially you don't gain more happiness by gaining more money, because the more you get, the more greedy you become, the more obsessed you become with money. Money takes over your life. So this is the situation with these billionaires that I know. Almost I can't even tell you who the exception is. They're all obsessed with money, and they won't give it away. That they take it to their graves with them. And then the people, their relatives fight over it, and they kill each other over it.
Very often, they also don't leave it to their children.
No, it's ridiculous.
They're estranged at a family level.
Yeah.
It's so how do you think one can vaccinate against that? I mean, vaccinate is a very loaded word, but
but I don't know how to tell people, but I tell you what my wife did. I mean, so she said, Vivek. She bought our children houses. We gave away 80-90% of everything we had, and she said that we should do it while we're still alive, because we can see the happiness it brings. So after I lost my wife, I sold my house in Menlo Park for a few $1 million. I gave away 80-90% of it for the same principle, and it brought so much happiness. So basically, what we've been doing is giving away, as much as we can while we can, because the happiness you get from helping others is the reward itself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm doing. I don't know what to advise other people. I'm not Daaji. I'm not I'm not a spiritual guru over here.
Yes. One other thing that you always prescribe. I mean, everybody talks of the young startup entrepreneurs and things like that. But you also advise that with experience, the entrepreneurship with experience is much more beneficial. When you've had a little experience, when you've had a little qualification. I mean, there's the typical trope of the school dropout doing a hardcore startup and having that rags to riches story.
The way my life is taking me. I mean, it's just I can't believe where I am, where I've come from. Because 15 years ago, I published research which showed that successful entrepreneurs tend to be middle-aged. They're not the college dropout. I proved all of these stereotypes about the typical entrepreneur being a Mark Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs wrong. They're not college dropouts. Education is important. and age and experience are important. What I documented, this created a sensation. Lots of interest in the media was that there are twice as many successful entrepreneurs who are over 50 than are under 20. Twice as many over 50 as under 25. Twice as many over 60 as under 20. I never even dreamed that I would become one of them myself. That at the age of 66, I would end up starting my third company, and I'd become an entrepreneur at this age. So I'm living this bizarro life in which I become an entrepreneur myself. For the last few months, I wake up at 4 o'clock every morning at the latest, and I'm working until 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, 7 days a week.
Wow.
I've become an entrepreneur again.
Wow.
So I'm basically what I wrote about 15 years ago.
But all the press goes to that 20-year-old, under 20.
It does, but that's BS, as I've already discredited. Experience and education make a big difference in entrepreneurship. Success is predicated upon your experience, your education level, the people your management team. There are many other factors to success, not the young, brash college dropouts. That's Silicon Valley stupidity. I mean, in India, people are more sensible than that.
Well, we hope so, certainly. Recently, we've had a big controversy with Narayanan
Yes,
Murthy
70
talking about
hours
the
a week.
70 hours a week, that work culture. So it's all about toxic work culture and the hustle. So where do you stand on that?
I'm working 70 hours a week again, right? So I mean, for a while, I was helping the Carcanos people out. I was helping the Plasma Waters company out, and then I was planning my next hiking trips. I went hiking to the Himalayas and Kashmir and so on and so on. And now I'm working 70 hours a week, like what Narayan Murthy talked about. The fact is, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you have to work extremely hard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you're starting up in your career while you're young, before you get married, you might as well work as hard as you can because it'll help you define your career. With 70 hours a week, I don't know if that's the right thing or not. I don't advise people to join Infosys or join Tech Mahindra to work 70 hours a week because all you're doing is you're being free labor for them and
Sure.
the company's profiting from you.
Sure.
So if you work for any of these big IT companies, don't listen to Narayan Murthy. He's full of shit. But if you're starting up a company, if you're now starting your career, work as hard as you can because that's how you succeed in life. Even if you're working at a big company, do spend the extra 35 hours you have learning more, learning about new fields, writing software, learning AI. I mean, whatever you might do, work hard, but you don't have to work for your company hard. Don't waste your life on working for your IT company or your employer that's going to take advantage of you. That's when Narayan Murthy is wrong. He may want cheap labor like that. So I'm all for the 70 hours a week, but not when you're working for a big company. There you work your 9 to 5, you do your job, get your salary, but you start thinking about how you're going to now build your next career and get the hell out of the big company.
Related to this issue is the thing that is talked about very often now is work-life balance. So how did you personally manage that?
It's very hard. When I founded 2 companies, and my wife, fortunately, she was there to look after the children and so on, and she would encourage me to work as hard as I had to, because when I started my first company, it required a lot of intense work. I mean, to build my career required a lot of intense work. So this is why my wife was critical, to me achieving work-life balance. It's very hard, and there's no simple recipe for it. So now I have nothing better to do than to work. So there's no such thing as love. I'm working 7 days a week. I'm day and night. Because I have a mission now to help billions of people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what motivates and inspires me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a personal thing. I mean, when you can and you have the ability to work hard, work hard. When you have a family, you have to dedicate yourself to your family. And then you have to work with your spouse to figure out what the right balance is, because it's not only the male that has to work. The spouses. I mean,
Absolutely.
women have an equal important role.
Absolutely.
It could be that the woman works and the man looks after the family. Why does it have to be all male oriented, as is common in Indian stereotypes? So every family is different. Every situation is different. You have to balance the need to succeed in your career with the need of your family. It's different. I mean, you have to do what makes sense.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. Now, you've known American society very well as a columnist also, and having lived there for so long. Right now, there are lots of problems. happening. And just last week, I think Bill Maher had an episode where he said, don't send your kids to college.
Oh my
Because
God. Now, Peter Thiel and I have debated this. If you Google Peter Thiel, Vivek
yes,
Wadhwa,
yes,
I squared debate, you'll
yes,
see that I debated him on why, because he said, don't go to college, you don't need to go to college. He
yeah,
had this Thiel fellowship in which was giving kids money not to go to school. Well, as it turns out, a few of them already successful, they were already doing things, and they raised a lot of capital, but the vast majority of them are despicable, miserable people who don't have any education now, who failed at what they were doing, and they're very unhappy. That's what happens.
yeah,
That for some people, dropping out of school makes sense, so you don't need a degree. But for the vast majority of people, you need at least a bachelor's degree. A master's degree is nice. I don't recommend PhDs to anyone because then you're in the academic trap and you're wasting your life is chasing tenured positions and forget the PhD.
okay.
That's
So
at least,
you can just add doctor to your name, just like Dr.
yeah,
Hook.
absolutely. People call me doctor all the time, and I have to tell them, hey, I'm not a doctor. But after a while, it doesn't matter anymore. No one gives a
Yeah,
damn
sure.
what your degree is.
No, Bill Maher's contention was political, actually, because he said all the Ivy League colleges are having pro-Palestine demonstrations. So he's saying, listen, they're messing with minds, young minds, and you are getting, there's the whole woke and conservative debate right now, and they're schooling you in woke culture rather than the conservative culture that America is built on. Where does America go from here, where there's so much division?
There's so much division in India as well. There's so
Sure.
much division all over the world. So America has problems. They're screwed up in many ways, but so is India. So is the whole world. There's no easy answer to that. This left-right polarization is happening globally, and yes, I mean, some academics in universities are extreme leftists because they live in the ivory towers. They have tenure. They can do whatever they want to do, and then they, you have these extreme groups and so on. But it's on both sides. You have extreme left, extreme right. But that's the way it's always been. I mean, before it was all localized, and you wouldn't see it. Now we're seeing it because all the knowledge is available to everyone, and you can see what's happening here. Humanity is imperfect, right? So all we can do is now try to go back to our spiritual roots. Get back into our value systems and uplift ourselves. There's nothing we can do about all of society. What we can do is uplift ourselves, and if enough of us uplift ourselves and we dedicate our lives to helping others, we will uplift humanity. So what am I doing now? I'm dedicating my life to helping others. So at this stage of my life, I mean, I have nothing better to do, so I might as well try to save the world. That's what I'm doing. That's the
Wow.
way I look at life right now.
I also
But that's a lesson for everyone. That yes, there are problems. There's nothing you can do about it. You can moan and groan. You can be negative. You can in India, people just start backstabbing each other and saying things publicly and spewing out all this venom. It won't do anything. You're just going to hurt yourself. Instead, go inside yourself now and uplift yourself. Go inside and now figure out how you can help others and uplift humanity. If you do that, you'll be an example to other people, and that's how we're going to save humanity.
Why do you think so many Indians, actually, since we're speaking about these cultures, Indian culture, American culture, why do you think so many Indians have been so successful in the tech industry?
Well, I've actually written about this quite extensively. I've researched this. First of all, Indians in Silicon Valley, why is it that they dominated? It wasn't like that 30 or 40 years ago. If you were an Indian, you were considered to be a low-level engineer, and you were considered. When I founded two companies. In front of my first company, I was number two. I was CTO. When I started my second company, I was in Raleigh, North Carolina. I was looking for funding, and literally, I had one of the locals tell me, "You people don't make good CEOs," because that was the stereotype there. So what happened in America? We went there, and we were all bloody Indians. We all looked different, acted different. Our wives wore saris. So we were discriminated against. So here in India, when you meet someone, either are you Gujarati, are you Punjabi, are you Bengali, are you Hindu, Muslim, are you from this sect, are you that sect? I mean, all this crap. I don't even know the difference between people from different parts of India. Well, that when people came to the West, when they came to America in particular, they realized that to Americans we're all bloody Indians. So what they did something which didn't happen in India. They started helping each other. In the tech industry, they started mentoring each other, guiding each other. They started networking each other, learning from lessons from each other, and voila. When they came together, the magic happened. They started achieving success at an unprecedented rate in Silicon Valley. So the first generation of Indians started giving back to the next generation of Indians, regardless of class, caste, religion, all this Indian, bakwas, as as you call it over here. We put all of that aside and we helped each other. And Indians achieved success to the point that we went from being beggars and snake charmers to being hotshot CEOs. If you're an Indian right now looking for money in Silicon Valley, you'll get your email returned faster than a white guy will, because Indians are perceived to be successful entrepreneurs, perceived to be brilliant engineers, brilliant scientists, brilliant business executives, because we succeeded and we helped each other. That is only beginning to happen in India right now. I mean, so Indians here have started helping each other, especially in the tech world. That stereotypes have changed, and it's become cool to become an entrepreneur. You go to networking events, you guide each other. So a lot is changing here as well. But what is it going to take for India to rise? Indians helping Indians, just the way they helped each other in Silicon Valley. That is the key to success.
Absolutely.
Giving back and helping.
Absolutely. Also, one thing with the Indian community, especially in the US, is that they, once they are slightly advanced in their careers, they start kind of looking back to the traditions back home. What do you think drives that? They have a renewed
What do you think I'm doing
interest.
here? Why do you think I'm at Heartfulness Institute? What's a guy like me doing over here? Because I'm yearning for the spiritual values of my ancestors. That I have a big advantage over my friends in America. That I have this culture, these values, this heritage, which I can tap into to uplift myself. So why am I here? Because I want to uplift myself. I want to now, go back to the fundamentals. So I'm using Ayurveda to improve my health. I'm getting, learning meditation and yoga to improve my mind, to improve my spirit, and I'm giving back to society the way, my people were trained to do, because I believe in karma. I believe that the more I give, the more I'll gain. And it's my duty to help other people. So I've gone back to my roots. I'm the person you're talking about from Silicon Valley.
I wish more people didn't have to do the going to Silicon Valley to discover their roots again.
Well, Indians, if they're not realizing what they have here, they're stupid. The fact that people look to Silicon Valley to learn, forget it. You have all the knowledge here. You have the knowledge of the sages, the ancient wisdom over here, and it's easily available to you. And it's, if you come here, it's free. Daaji is not even charging for meditation and for teaching all of these things. Everything here is subsidized. It's amazing. Why aren't Indians flocking here? Why do they want to go to Disneyland, and learn from the West when they can uplift their souls over here itself? This is the stupidity of India.
Yeah,
They've lost their values.
So what do you think, we were talking about how millionaires and billionaires lose their sort of compass and just go overboard. I mean, you've been very successful. What do you think prevented you from going into a life of fast cars, and you could have been on an island somewhere right now?
Because it's my cultural, my spiritual values. In fact, it was my wife's values. She was always, keeping me grounded. That even when I achieved success, I meet the presidents of countries, and I have access to who's who. She would never let me. She would never let the success go to my head. She always kept me grounded. She was a Sikh, always the Sikh values. So she would take me to the Gurdwara. Every time we achieved any success, we would say thank you to Vaheguruji. So that, was the value system that she brought into me. And this is why whatever I'm doing is for my wife, because she brought me back to my Indian cultural values.
Absolutely. People also look up to you in your role as a columnist, look up to you to identify trends and see where certain things are going, see where certain initiatives are going. How do you kind of keep track? Because the world is getting so much more complicated now. It's like difficult to identify patterns within it. And how do you?
The knowledge comes to you. Between all the sorts of information is always coming to me, and I'm just keep track of it. I keep learning. To me, learning doesn't stop when you graduate. Learning starts when you graduate. So I keep learning. I keep speaking to people, and I keep up to date on all the latest trends. And I know how to look at patterns. So this is why I'm saying read my books, because if you want to learn about how to look at trends and figure out where the billion-dollar opportunities are, then you read from incremental to exponential. If you want to learn the basics of advancing technologies, you read from Driver and the Driverless Car. Cars. These books are only like 200 or 300 rupees in India.
Mm-hmm.
In the US, it costs $30 for the books. Here, you can get them for 200 or 300 rupees, all the knowledge you want, and then it'll teach you where to look for more knowledge.
Yes,
It's all available to you for free right now on the web. You can even download pirated copies of my books. I don't care. I mean, I don't make any money from these. So get the knowledge from wherever you can.
Well, there's also the two words that we hear very often: fake news.
Right.
How do you sift that out from?
It's hard because it's becoming harder and harder. But you have to just have common sense. Go to credible sources, and look at both sides. I mean, so I follow the extreme left and I follow the extreme right, and the truth is somewhere in between. So when it comes to India, I don't read the New York Times or Washington Post because it's extreme leftist. It's complete poison. New York Times and Washington Post, when any article about India is extreme venom. I don't know what it is, so zero credibility with me. I don't listen to it. I don't get the sources from there. If I want information about India, I'll go to Indian publications and read a bunch of those.
Sure.
So you just have to be able to, you can't trust any particular news source. So New York Times and Washington Post are very good for certain types of information. So I listen to them on that. But I know again where their limits are. So you just have to realize that there's no one true news source anymore. You have to have balance and use your own judgment to realize what's true and what's false.
Absolutely. As common sense, as you said, that's
Right.
You have to apply that. On a personal level, your 70-hour week, what do you do to rejuvenate, to relax? What's your...
I come to Heartfulness Institute in Hyderabad.
Absolutely. And heartfulness is a practice that you can take wherever with you. So
this is why I'm here.
Absolutely.
Because for the last 4 or 5 months, I've been working literally 7 days a week, nonstop. So that's why I came here for the Hindustan Times Leadership Summit to speak there, but I took 4 days off to come here.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my way of rejuvenating.
Mm-hmm. And amongst all the people you've met, we have so much hype now, either negative or positive, about personalities. There's the cult of the personality is still very, prevalent. Is there any one person where you said the hype lives up to the person?
Everyone is imperfect.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, when I met Narendra Modi, I was amazed that I could have intellectual conversations with him. Narendra Modi is imperfect. So he's doing many things right. There's certain things he's doing wrong. So I don't support the right-wing causes. I don't support the left-wing causes as well. So when I met Daaji, I didn't know what to expect. I expected him to be like some of the other spiritual gurus who's obsessed with himself. Quite the opposite. As humble as could be, teaching the right things. So there are a lot of things I admire him for. But he's not an expert in everything.
Sure.
So all of these people you read about, all these famous people you read about, they have something good about them. There's good in everyone. So what I tell people to do is learn from everyone. Even people that they would not normally think are very smart. There's always something good in everyone. Learn from them.
That's such wise words.
And even the people who are famous and successful, they have I have many flaws. There are many things you shouldn't learn from me. But again, there are things which you can learn from me. So that's the way it goes.
Wow. I saw some of your interviews, some of the Zoom calls that you had done, and I couldn't help notice Syed Haider Raza painting behind you,
Right.
one of the Bindu series.
Right.
Do you have an interest in art? How did that develop?
My wife has a good friend. My wife had a good friend, Malvika Bowry, who was sourcing the most amazing paintings. She gave it to my wife as a gift, and my wife put it in my study. So that's why it's there. So it's not that I know anything about art. It was really my wife and her friend who came up with that.
It sure beats any virtual background that Zoom can dream up.
I can't take credit for all of that.
So, what are your interests other than technology and the cancer research that is occupying your time? What is the stuff?
I mean, look, I talked about curing cancer. I talked about transforming agriculture. I talked about transforming medical diagnostics.
Yes.
Isn't that enough for me?
Yeah, that's more than enough.
On top of that,
but with you, we expect that there's so many layers. There'll be something else you'll tell us about how you.
If you really want to know, I've also got a project in the oil industry. I'm thinking of of disrupting the entire oil industry and making it abundant. But that's a different technology. It's a technology of license, which I might. I bought the intellectual property. I might license it to some people and get that so we can solve the problems of energy as well.
Wow!
Right.
Wow! Incredible, because that's a huge problem right now. It's we're still dependent on fossil fuels.
Right.
You foresee that is going to change in the future, right?
We're moving to an era of clean energy. We for the next 5 or 10 years we still need fossil fuels, but by the time a decade comes, it'll be like telephony. The cost will be almost nothing, and we won't be destroying the planet.
Absolutely.
To fulfill our energy needs. On top of that, you might have breakthroughs in fusion, which might disrupt the entire industry.
Absolutely.
Again. There's one technology after another which could save humanity.
Absolutely. Oliver Stone has just done a documentary where he promotes nuclear energy as being actually a very clean and safe sort of energy.
I know Oliver Stone. He's a friend. I have a private mailing list. He's on that mailing list.
Oh, wow.
So Oliver Stone, you can't predict what he's going to say next, what he's going to do next. I mean, he does beautiful documentaries, but he's not the guru of gurus in many of these things. Nuclear, the reason I'm not optimistic about it is because it's too expensive, and there are too many risks with it. And by the time you build a nuclear power plant, it takes 5 or 10 years. In 5 or 10 years, the cost of clean energy is going to be down by 75%. So already now, you're almost at par in terms of cost. The cost of clean energy drops by 75%, and you have this expensive nuclear power plant, which requires hundreds of millions of dollars to maintain, and which poses a risk to the environment with the contamination of processed fuels. Why would you go nuclear? So I'm not a fan of nuclear for that reason. Not that I don't, that I have anything against it. It's just that I see the trend of clean energy dropping exponentially, and that's going to win. It's unstoppable.
So it's been an absolutely wonderful conversation. Thank you. There's so many takeaways from this.
I've got myself into a lot of trouble. I hope this doesn't go viral.
No publicity is bad publicity.
Are you kidding? I mean, I have all these nutcases hounding me all the time, especially when I talk about U.S. We didn't talk about U.S. immigration. On that, I mean, oh my God.
Should we get into it?
No, forget it.
Where do you stand on the wall?
Right.
So anyway, it's been really phenomenal talking to you, and thank you so much for taking out the time.
Absolutely.
Just lastly, there's a lot of kids in college right now who don't know where the world is headed, who don't know what they'll be doing in the future, who have basic ideas of what they want to get involved in. In college, for you personally, did you ever think that Vivek Wadhwa would be doing what he's doing today?
No way in hell. Are you kidding? I mean, if I started off as a computer programmer. I was so excited I started as a computer programmer. Then I became vice president of technology at First Boston. Ended up becoming an entrepreneur, founding one company, founding another company, being a techie, then having a massive heart attack, and then becoming an academic, getting into universities that I could never have gotten admission into, not one, but 6 of them. And then, with my wife, losing her, and then getting into curing cancer. What did I know about cancer? But I'm determined to cure cancer right now. And then starting a biotech company when I was 66 years of age, me doing a biosciences biotech company, I couldn't have dreamed about that even a year ago. I could never imagine I'm going to be doing that. So God knows where I'm going to head up or what lies next. Life is unpredictable. But I realize that you just have to go wherever it takes you. And as long as you're trying to do good for the world will look after you.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful note to end on.
Right.
Thank you so much for taking out the time.
Absolutely.
And we hope to see you again and again in Kanha.
Let's see. I hope to be back.
It would be wonderful to have you back. Thank you so much.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of KanhaCast. Please follow and subscribe to KanhaCast on Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram. Until next time,
Woof woof.